What is going on, Sports Wars? We're here and we are live with my man, John Matrix from Black and White Sports. Good morning, John.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Well, I think the chat's ready to rock and roll. They're pissed that I was a little bit late, but that's okay. We're getting some stuff done.
We're
YouTube was
always a
being
little late.
YouTube was being a little slow behind the scenes. So we had to wait for something to process real quick. But we are good to go. And man, it's there's a lot of stuff going on right now. I don't follow hockey, but obviously hockey playoffs are ongoing at the same time that NBA playoffs are ongoing. There's some interesting matchups in the NBA, some interesting back and forth between people, including the Memphis Grizzlies and the Lakers. And Dillon Brooks, I talked about it a couple days ago, talked a lot of shit to LeBron James, and he did not back it up. It went very poorly for Dillon Brooks last night. So we're going to talk about him getting ejected for hitting LeBron in his little dick. And LeBron played it up, which he should have, got Dillon Brooks ejected. But man, if you're going to call out LeBron James, you best put on your best game. And Dillon Brooks did not do that. We got trans athletes to talk about. We got Phil Jackson to talk about because, John, did you know, despite the fact that Phil Jackson has been working with professional athletes, black athletes, his entire career, did you know he's actually a huge racist?
Did not know that, but I'm not surprised that Phil Jackson has been branded a racist. That doesn't surprise me whatsoever. I kind of always knew that Phil Jackson probably wasn't down with the social justice stuff with the NBA. When was the last time Phil Jackson really was even involved with the NBA? I mean, when he left the Knicks,
with his Knicks, yeah, the Knicks,
he just kind of disappeared from there. And 3 years later, after the bubble, he's finally speaking out.
Yeah, Phil Jackson made a podcast appearance, and surprise, surprise, maybe Phil Jackson's been watching Black and White Sports. Maybe Phil Jackson's been watching Sports Wars, because what he said was a much nicer way of saying what we've been saying, that the NBA and professional sports in general over the last several years has gotten way too politicized. It is coming from this left-wing social justice activism. That's where it's coming from. Which, hey, I bet a lot of the players align with that, but a lot of the audience doesn't. And when you decide to push that down people's throats, people are going to walk away. That's why we have the NBA Finals right now, averaging less viewers over the past several years than the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship did. That's how you get to that state, is when you get so inherently political that you turn off a large section of your fan base. Phil Jackson called that out and is being attacked. So we may as well hop into that, because this was a huge story yesterday. If I can actually pull it up without this massive ad from the New York Post. Holy fuck.
Here we go. That's why I don't like using the Post that much. Their ads just cover the whole screen.
It just, like, sometimes they disappear when you scroll down. This one does not want to disappear at all.
It kind of takes a while. Bro Bible actually has an article that.
Oh, we've got a Bro Bible article.
Yeah, they're like against Phil Jackson.
Oh yes, but here it is. This was the news that broke yesterday. Phil Jackson, who is obviously an NBA legend, a coaching legend, 6 championships with the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan, 5 championships with 3 with Shaq and Kobe, and then 2 with Kobe and the rest with the Lakers. Phil Jackson has not been watching basketball, shockingly, for the same reasons that a lot of other Americans haven't, because it's gotten too political. He's tired of the woke messaging. He didn't like it back in 2020, and it turned him, as well as a lot of other people, off. And he laid all of this out. And wouldn't you know, John, now he's being labeled a racist, which we will get to all these things. But first, let's hear his actual comments. This is Phil Jackson on the Tetragrammation podcast.
Do you still watch a lot of basketball, or
no? I don't.
Tell me about that. When and did you stop immediately from the time you stopped coaching?
No, I didn't. I watched some of the game evolve and decided, and they went into the lockout year and they did something that was kind of wanky. They did a bubble down in Orlando, and all the teams that could qualify went down there and stayed down there.
No audience.
And they had things on their back like, justice and, I mean, a little funny thing like, Justice just went to the basket, and equal opportunity just knocked him down. And
And it's hard to remember. This was only a couple of years ago.
I know. I like the way he says it. The way he says, "Oh, justice," and it's kind of funny.
He knows it's laughable. You got these guys that are wearing all these slogans and propaganda on the back of their jerseys.
somebody I had another name for a guy who has jersey in the back of a jersey. He had some other slogan. So my grandkids thought that was pretty funny to play up those names. So I couldn't watch that. And the Lakers won, actually. They won that year. And
Yes, the Lakers and LeBron won the Mickey Mouse
Yeah.
ring in Orlando. Yes.
Do you
but
feel like it just made little of the game, like it made it like a sideshow? What do you think it was that turned you off?
well, it was they even had slogans on the floor, on the baseline. It was catering. It was trying to cater to an audience, or trying to bring a certain audience into play. And they didn't know it was turning other people off.
Mm-hmm.
People want to see sports as non-political.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a lot of different type of players that have gone on to be like, Bill Bradley was a senator. Number of baseball players have been representatives and senators and political, but their politics stay out of the game.
Yeah, it's separate.
And that's what we have been talking about for a long time. And
Yep.
guess what? The NBA recognized that too. That's why the NBA tried to distance themselves from some of this more radical stuff. Why they stopped talking about it so much. And what did we see? We saw the ratings start to bounce back a little bit once they did that. But obviously, they turned off a large segment of the population. What were your thoughts when you heard this, John?
When I heard this, I was like, this is not really surprising coming from Phil Jackson. Now, if he was still an active NBA coach, would he be saying this? Probably not. Probably not. But we always knew that Phil Jackson was more about business. That's why I believe that I don't think a LeBron James could ever have a Phil Jackson as a coach. It would be a disaster because of the way that LeBron is. I don't think it would ever work. Do you think it would work with LeBron and Phil Jackson?
No. LeBron would never want to coach. LeBron doesn't want strong coaching like that.
No.
Like the closest maybe he ever got was in Miami, and he tried to get Eric Spoelstra fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously Eric Spoelstra was
Pat
very
Riley
young
was
back
not
then.
going for that.
Yeah, and Spoelstra was very young back then too. So that even he didn't have that same type of feel that a Phil Jackson or a Greg Popovich or something like that would have. Popovich now, I don't know, but like the guys who have been around, a strong personality, a strong head coach who's going to have things done his way. That's not LeBron. LeBron wants a guy like Darvin Ham who he can just push around. If he doesn't think it's working, or he thinks you're going to push back against it, he will get you fired. LeBron James has done that multiple times.
Yeah. You're right about that.
But now, what's the story? Phil Jackson's getting roasted by basketball fans for his comments on why he doesn't watch the NBA. Look at this random picture with Kobe that they put.
Yeah.
As this thing here. Look at some of these. Phil Jackson says he doesn't like basketball's evolution and doesn't watch anymore. Thought the bubble and political slogans on the jerseys was wanky and made fun of it with his grandchildren.
Now,
Feels cowardly. Go ahead.
I'm going to say this here. The part about the evolution, I think he's talking about the style of play in the NBA. I've been very, very critical of that for years now, how the mid-range game has just disappeared. I mean, teams are shooting 50,000 threes a game. Is gimmicky. And I remember when the Rockets had home court against the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, they missed something like an NBA record, 27 straight threes, and they had no plan B. All they did was just keep jacking up threes, no mid-range shots whatsoever. That's another reason why I'm turned off by the NBA about style of play.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what he meant by the game evolving. And there's been a lot of complaints about that in general. This is how things happen. It happens in the NFL. It happens in the NBA. It happens in Major League Baseball with the shift and things like that. And then, eventually adjustments get made. People say, hey, look, everyone's doing this. I think we can exploit an advantage by doing this. and then it will start to change back. That's how things go. We know that. Max Power says, feels cowardly to mock black athletes when your entire reputation and bank account is built off their hard work and talent.
Now, Phil Jackson is not mocking black athletes.
No.
He is mocking the NBA just going political, whether it's all white players, all black players. He said it doesn't have any place in the game. Just alienating people.
Phil Jackson is an old racist that's been riddled with health issues. So I hope his grandkids do find him funny because he's on his way out of here. People like Phil Jackson, George Karl, Stockton, and Malone aren't missed in the NBA. Malone getting thrown in there was interesting. Yeah. Phil is just lying. His issue's not with politics. His issue's with a specific activist message being sent. But he knows that'd be unpalatable. So he takes his coward's way out and raises a vague concern about politics. Yeah, I knew Phil Jackson was trash. America's never had a problem mixing sports and politics. They just don't like it when politics knock on their own doors. Well, if you mean when BLM's rioting and burns your fucking house down or your business down, yeah, if that's what you mean by knock on doors, maybe. You got Phil Jackson. they're bringing out the memes here. Phil Jackson seeing those slogans on the court. If you just search Phil Jackson racist, it is he's getting annihilated right now by activists on social media, calling him racist, labeling him this, labeling that. A dude who has been around the game for forever because he has an opinion that actually aligns with a lot of other people's around the world that, hey, despite your politics, despite your political affiliation, you probably shouldn't be pushing this stuff because it will push an audience away. Phil Jackson's now being labeled a racist.
And then at that, the NBA, they never really truly gotten away. Now, they haven't gone full BLM like they did in the bubble, but they started creating these social justice awards, and they started turning NBA arenas into polling locations so people can vote for Democrats. And then they didn't schedule any games whatsoever. They went out of their way to put this out there. We're not going to schedule any games on Election Day. They're still extremely political.
Oh, they're still very political, but in terms of the stuff they did in the bubble, that was outlandish.
That was over the top.
Like having all of them wearing Black Lives Matter shirts. The court says Black Lives Matter. Them kneeling together for the national anthem.
They knelt down for the anthem on 9/11 when the military was singing it.
And you know what the truth is? They never would have done that if there had been fans in the building.
Boy.
They never would have done it. They would have been
crushed.
They would have been too fucking cowardly to do it because they would have got booed. They would have got booed by normal fans. Normal fans thought that was disrespectful and disgusting. So they are cowards, and they never would have done it with an actual audience.
Yeah.
They did it in their little fucking safe space bubble. These are the same people who refused to walk on the floor, who refused to play after Jacob Blake, disgusting criminal Jacob Blake, got shot rightfully by the police. They tried to lift this guy up, turn him into a fucking hero. These people are scum.
Yeah. Adam Silver, man, he has no balls whatsoever. Adam Silver is weak. He is terrified of standing up to players and their agenda. The NBA owners, man, they really don't have much power over this stuff. I'm pretty sure that NBA owners probably didn't want all that stuff to happen, but the NBA players are too powerful for them.
Well, you couldn't do anything, right? If you speak out against it, what do you get labeled? A racist. So obviously NBA owners don't want to get labeled that. Look what happened to Donald Sterling.
I mean, look what they tried to do to Jerry Jones. All he did was stand in a picture. 60. No, what? How long?
He's like 15 years old or something.
Yeah, it's like 65 years ago. He's just standing in the back, and they tried to brand him a racist.
I saw some people being like, Phil Jackson's about 2 weeks away from explaining where he was on January 6th or something like that. It's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. Yeah, the Suns owner is absolutely.
Yeah, Robert Sarver.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's not the owner anymore, I don't think.
Nope. Donald Sterling's not the owner of the Clippers either.
Yeah.
As soon as you get that label on you, you get out. Zenny Biscuit for 5. The Friday before the Derby is the Kentucky Oaks. How can you not root for a Philly named Darth Vader? Well, there you go. I guess that's how I'll have to root for Vader. Thank you, Zenny Biscuit. Anthony, Manchester City for Aussie 5. I believe Manchester City wins the Champions League. The woke people got to stop ruling sports. I agree. I don't know anything about what's going on with Man City or the Champions League, but I agree with your sentiments. Gabriel Knight for 2. Jordan is the GOAT. LeBron sucks. I'm not going to say LeBron sucks. LeBron ain't the GOAT. That's for fucking sure.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that he continues to want to be labeled that. But we do actually have to talk a little bit about LeBron James because let's see if I can find it. I actually got to find the video. Dillon Brooks, LeBron James. Where's the fucking video at though? Here we go. Got it. Dillon Brooks talked a lot of shit to LeBron. All right. Dillon Brooks talked a lot of shit to LeBron and was not able to back it up. You guys know me. I am as big of a LeBron James critic and hater as you will ever possibly find. For 20 years, I've been rooting against LeBron James. That's just the truth. That's the reality. But if you're going to come out and you're going to talk shit to LeBron James, you better back it up. And that is not what happened when it comes to Dillon Brooks. This is how it started versus how it's going. Dillon Brooks after game 2, I don't care. He's old. I poke bears. I don't respect no one until they come and give me 40. Talking about LeBron James. Well, by the end of the first quarter, when the Memphis Grizzlies, I think, only scored about 9 points in the first quarter.
In the first quarter.
Yeah, they got destroyed in the first quarter. Dillon Brooks was shooting like garbage. I think Dillon Brooks was like 3 for 13 on the night. Did not look great out there. He never really looked great shooting the ball, but, oftentimes he can't contribute. This is how it ended. Dillon Brooks declined an interview request. I ain't talking.
Man, that's cowardly right there.
That is cowardly. That is cowardly by Dillon Brooks. If you're going to come out and talk shit when you guys have a good game and when you play well, when you hit a big shot in LeBron's face in the fourth quarter and you're talking, great. I love that. I love that. But you got to come out and face the music when you have a night like you did the other night. And he's getting blasted for this. Right? He's getting blasted for not coming out and even speaking to the media after being so willing to talk to him before. And Dillon Brooks actually did get ejected in this game. And there's questions as to whether he'll be available for the next one, whether he gets suspended for this. Dillon Brooks was ejected for this low blow on LeBron James. LeBron James, despite likely having a very small dick, was on the floor for a while after taking this shot from Dillon Brooks. Here you go.
There it is right there with the left arm.
This will be fascinating because it is in very recent memory.
Yes.
We've seen Draymond Green adjudicated for his.
There it was. He got a flagrant 2, got ejected for that, which it was forcible contact to the dick, right? What do you think? This is the first time you're seeing this, right, John? Do you think that this is intentional, or do you think this is a guy who's expecting a crossover from LeBron instead of a behind the back?
With the left arm.
This will be fascinating because it is in very recent memory.
Yes.
We've seen Draymond Green adjudicated for his history.
What's your take?
I don't think. Man,
I don't think he tried. I don't think he tried to slap him in the dick. I don't think he tried to do that. I think he was. I think he expected, because look at LeBron's body starting to shift. The weights. You see the foot there, the weight starts to shift. I think Dillon Brooks is hoping for a crossover attempt, but instead LeBron goes behind the back. But either way, Dillon Brooks is a player who has a lot of technical fouls this year, leads the league in technical fouls. He's been ejected multiple times this year as well. Like, Dillon Brooks has a reputation. And I think there is a good chance they could potentially suspend him, seeing what they did to Draymond for his history, even though Joel Embiid tried to kick a dude in the fucking groin. And no punishment happened for Joel Embiid. Won't be playing in the next game. But it was
hold
just
on one second. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. All in all, this is just a really bad look for Dillon Brooks and the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, it's not like LeBron had a crazy night or anything. He was 10 for 20, but of all the starters on the floor, LeBron James was the only one that had a negative plus minus. I believe the Lakers were -6 when LeBron James was on the floor. So it's not like he played out of his mind or anything. And the Grizzlies were able to really make a game out of it, despite being down by nearly 30 points early on. But Dillon Brooks, for a guy who talked so much shit about LeBron James, which I'm an advocate for. Talk all the shit you want in the world, but when you have a bad game, when you have a bad night, when you play like garbage and you get ejected in the third quarter, you got to go out and face the music. You got to go out and talk to the media. And for him to not do that is very, very cowardly. Whether he comes back and is available for game 4 or not, that's going to be huge. They need him back for game 4 because defensively, he is incredibly important for this Memphis Grizzlies team. But after this blow on LeBron, and if it's a blow on somebody else that's not LeBron James, it's a different story too. This is a shot to the dick of LeBron James, the guy who he just been talking shit about. So I think that overall makes it more likely that he could get suspended, just like we saw with Draymond several years ago, in the NBA Finals for what happened to him. We shall see. Either way, very, very embarrassing for Dillon Brooks and the Memphis Grizzlies for him to not talk after coming up short against the Lakers. And John will be back in a little bit here. What does the chat think? I want to know if the chat thought that it was intentional. I don't think it was intentional. I think he was trying to steal the ball. He broke LeBron's front hole. Yes. LeBron was on the floor for forever. He really played that up. But of course, he did get hit in the dick, right? But he definitely was playing it up. LeBron's pussy hurts. Joe Bob produces, you disagree about what? Accident looks like LeBron deserves 2 kicks to the gonads. Le Soul glow and bronze beard. A nice nut tap. Fallen Republic says looked intentional. Why is he reaching when he's that off balance? Well, because that was about to be a fast break. Like LeBron got the ball and it was about to be a fast break and he was trying to stop him to not give up a dunk. Mike Hill, member for 26 months, got caught trying to steal the wrong balls. That's true. That's true. LeBron overplayed it. At this point in the NBA, you like that's the new normal for the NBA. You have to embellish. You have to do that. That's what all these guys do. Did you guys see that Joel Embiid, like obviously he's out with that knee injury for game 4, which is big for them. But Joel Embiid fell like a million fucking times. I wonder if I think I liked this tweet, but I don't know if but like look at how many times Joel Embiid fell down in game 3. It's like this is your fucking MVP. Maybe he's just learned all this from James Harden. But this is a highlight of game 3, Joel Embiid falling down. And again, this is a guy who's the biggest, strongest dude on the floor, just taking dives every chance he could fucking get to try to draw. That one was like nothing either. That looks like an actual trip. But then look what he does after. Another Joel Embiid fell down. Joel Embiid fell down. He fell down a million fucking times in that game. He spent more time on the floor than he did on his feet. And maybe by trying to sell all those, he ended up maybe even hurting his knee. Maybe that was part of the reason. Game On Podcast. What's up, man? It's weird Embiid's not done much to his standards in that series. Him falling so much late in the Nets getting his head is concerning for Sixers fans. Yeah, I mean, I think the Sixers are going to be fine in this series, obviously, with where they're at right now. But that, I just don't understand. I don't respect when guys that are that big and that strong play like that. And obviously he was trying to get calls, but looked cringe to me. Mick Walsh for €2. Jalen Soy Boy Rose lied over Jacob Blake being killed. Yes, Jalen Rose thought Jacob Blake died. He thought Jacob Blake died even like a year after the fact. But again, I mean, that's Jalen Rose for you. So that kind of makes a lot of sense. I want to talk about this weird Derrick Henry. This weird Derrick Henry story. I don't know if you guys saw I don't know if you guys saw this, but the past couple days, past 2 days really, there has been there was a report out there. Like there was a report out there from a former NFL player, from Agbar Bajabiamila, who said that Derrick Henry was headed to the Eagles. Like he put that out there. Now these guys share an agent. He put this story out there. Everyone in the industry has checked, and they have come back and today said, no, this isn't true. Jay Glazer, Pro Football Talk, like everybody's coming out and saying it's not true. But this is what he said. Check this out. Breaking, move out the way. Derrick Henry is headed to the Eagles. And you lying, just remember who told you first. He doubled down multiple times on it. But everyone since then has come out and said, nah, this is just not happening. We even got Derrick Henry trending right now as we speak. Dove Kleiman, update, the Titans Derrick Henry to the Eagles rumors aren't real, at least not at this point, according to Jay Glazer. Also had the same thing from Pro Football Talk as well. Like, it doesn't, it's strange that news would get out there from not a prominent guy. I mean, he's probably more famous at this point for hosting American Ninja Warrior, but from somebody that does share the same agent as Derrick Henry, if there was no truth to that. Now, the idea of Derrick Henry headed to the Eagles, like, imagine a backfield where you're worried about Jalen Hurts and Derrick Henry. I guess you could think about that in Alabama. But, AJ Brown also said he wants that to happen, and they would basically be turning it into fucking Alabama North. But as of right now, there's no, it's just false. It's not a real rumor, according to every NFL insider. That doesn't mean that it couldn't happen. It doesn't mean there might be a little bit of truth to it. But as of right now, it's not happening. And it's just so weird to me. Eagles don't have a salary cap for Henry. There's things that they could probably figure out. Like there's ways they would have to make some moves for sure. But what a weird story. And I don't think it's happening, at least not right now. But if it does, holy shit. Look out for the Eagles. Derrick Henry has a lot of mileage on him already. That's risky. John Matrix is taking the biggest shit of his life right now. No, he's probably just got something that came up at the house. No big deal. Oh,
no.
Taking the biggest shit ever?
No, man. YouTube gave us a strike.
For what?
Hate speech. They're targeting channels.
Is it for a trans issue?
It's over there on, it's on network video. They've been doing this deliberately. And it's nothing more than, you seen that Dr. Phil clip that's going around about the 5th grade teacher just stating biological facts?
No, I have not.
Everybody's reacting to it. They said hate speech and promoting violence.
Yeah,
nothing in there about that.
They are when it comes to like Dillon Mulvaney stuff, they're starting to crack down. When it comes to like Matt Walsh stuff, they're starting to crack down. I think it's more
Matt Walsh is what they're really cracking down on than Dillon Mulvaney. Mm-hmm. I mean, but that video had nothing in that video. I mean, that's the second time they've done that. It got overturned like in an hour last time. So, man, I'm not happy with YouTube, man. Rumble, get your act together, please.
We're live on Rumble right now, so shout out to all the people over there in the Rumble chat.
So I had to put in an appeal. That's why I was gone.
Got it. No problem. Yeah, I mean, that sucked. I remember back on my political channel, I used to get a decent amount of strikes during the COVID era for simply reacting to a Bill Maher, reacting to a Joe Rogan and Bill Maher clips, both of which were on CNN's YouTube channel. That's where I reacted to those things from, but I got hit for medical misinformation.
The Dr. Phil clip is on Dr. Phil's YouTube channel.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and, hopefully that'll get overturned, and it probably will. If
they gave us a warning, took down the video after 5 months. It was a political campaign ad for some black Republican in Arizona. They took it down after 5 months. Gave us a warning. Doesn't make any sense.
And we do see the Rumble chat saying, John, we're right here, says King Kane Rumsky over on Rumble. Shout out over to the Rumble guys. We were finishing up talking about Dillon Brooks and stuff, and then we went over that weird Derrick Henry to the Eagles rumor, which sounds like a complete and total nothing burger from what everyone's reporting. But I mean, if there's any sort of like fire to that, and the Titans are interested in moving Derrick Henry, that could obviously be a massive swing for somebody. I don't know how much longer Derrick Henry is going to play with as much as he's been utilized and much pounding as he takes. I don't know what his career trajectory looks like. I don't know how much longer this guy wants to play, but I mean, maybe he, even though, he did get that big contract from the Titans, maybe he is a little bit tired of being there. Maybe he wants to be somewhere else. What do you think?
He is right around that age of, he's 29 years old right now.
Running backs after 30.
Running backs around 30. Look at Zeke, one of those ground and pound bats. But he did have, he had a really good season. 1,500 yards, 4.4 yards per attempt. He had 13 TDs. He's still
it was a down year for him. He was a little banged up, if I remember right.
He missed one game. He played 8 games the season before. But for the most part, he's been pretty consistent the last few years. I haven't seen, like with Zeke, you saw that decline year by year. Not really seeing that much with Derrick Henry right now. And
he caught more passes last year than he ever has before, too.
Yeah, he caught a career high 33 passes.
Yeah, which isn't much by running back standards these days, but it's more than he was before. And God, if you can get that dude out in space and give him a little bit of a head start out there, but by pass catching, that's a next level.
Yeah.
But I do. Speaking of controversial shit, we do have to talk about this stuff a little bit because this is out there, and we talk a lot about trans athletes in sports. A lot about trans athletes in sports because one, the mainstream media refuses to cover it unless they're praising it. The mainstream media, as much as they love to talk about pushing women's athletics and female empowerment, all these things, and they've been shoving women's sports down our throats for years, despite the fact that some people just aren't interested. All of a sudden, when biological males start coming into those spaces and dominating, they're silent. Either they're silent or they praise them. ESPN honoring Leah Thomas for Women's History Month. It's an absolute joke. That's one of the reasons we have to speak out about these things. And so now, I don't know why my screen just did that. Let's try this again. So now you have women that are taking stands. We saw what Riley Gaines has done and has been doing for a long time. Well, now somebody else who's been affected by biological males in sports, a female volleyball player who got a ball spiked into her face by a biological male, is speaking out. Injured North Carolina volleyball player urges transgender bans for female sports teams in schools. And we talked about this. What was it, last year sometime? This was that story. Last year. This is a biological male, and this is coming from their own highlight. The reason people saw this is because they bragged about it. They used it in a highlight reel. They used this spike on a highlight reel that they put on their YouTube channel. Biological male spiking into the face of a biological female.
Looks pretty big too, huh? That
yeah. Yeah, weird. How tall and how much stronger, how much higher this person can jump. That's weird. Well, now this person is speaking out. A North Carolina high school volleyball player has urged the state legislature to pass a bill banning transgender athletes born male from playing on female sports teams after she was seriously injured when a transgender girl spiked the ball at her. Peyton McNabb, a senior at Hiwassee Dam High School in Murphy, told state reps Wednesday she suffered a concussion and neck injury during the game. Due to the North Carolina High School Athletic Association policy allowing biological males to compete against females, my life has been forever changed. She still struggles with effects of her injuries, impaired vision, partial paralysis, unremitting headaches, anxiety, and depression. McNabb claims she'd also been forced to obtain accommodations at the school as a result of her impaired ability to understand and retain information. I mean, this is what it's come to. You have women that have been injured by biological men competing with them who are desperately speaking out to prevent it from happening to other girls.
That's just, it's crazy, man, because you have video evidence of these athletes actually getting injured by biological males, but yet your Megan Rapinos and what was that, like 40 other athletes signed a letter to Congress, I believe, to allow biological males to compete against women. I believe it's going to take a fatality. And you know what? Even if there was actually a fatality, I don't believe that people like Megan Rapinoe would change their stance.
That's the sad
I don't
part.
think so. Yeah. I mean, she's talking about how she has blurred vision. She's playing softball right now, by the way, and she isn't playing up to her standards because, I mean, a head injury like that, man, does a lot of damage. A lot of damage. Actually, I don't know if she'll be successful with this. I'm looking at lawsuits.
Oh,
I'm looking at suing
100%. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people. If you're injured by competing against a biological man in these sports, I 1000% think that you could look into that
Yeah.
by schools allowing for this unsafe
suing
situation.
the NCAA, make them suffer for this.
Yeah, I think that and the whole narrative about, well, they're not gonna let trans kids play sports. Well, one, trans kids is disgusting in and of itself, just the phrase. But no, you can play sports. You can play the sport where you're supposed to play. You can play against the men. You can play
Yeah.
against other men, but you can't play against females. That's the bottom line. That's all that this bill is trying to do. And
Yeah.
you know that it's not going to pass. You know, even if it did, fucking Joe Biden would veto it. So it's, you know, unfortunately, it's a fool's errand in terms of will it actually get done. But the attention is on. You have ESPN personalities finally speaking out. Sage Steele has been vocal about it for a while, but you even had Samantha Ponder talking about this.
Yep.
And of course, you have Charlie, who just left ESPN for Outkick, talking about as well how she felt stifled at ESPN and how people are finally starting to break. But ESPN has encouraged this.
Yeah.
The woke sports media has encouraged men coming in to female sports to dominate them.
I believe if you were to actually secretly poll the women at ESPN secretly, you'll probably find almost no women on board with this. But publicly, they're going to go out there and say, hey, we want biological males in women's sports. But behind closed doors, they're going to say, no, this is pretty terrible. That's the way I think they would actually believe. They're too spineless to actually go out there and speak the truth.
Yeah, I think so. And there are probably a lot of people who are just silent, right? A lot of people who are silent that aren't saying anything because they're fearful of being labeled a transphobe. They're fearful of being labeled a bigot. And for us to come out and speak about it, that does do some things, that does push it out there, that does push the message out there. But you need women speaking out about this. That's who has to save this stuff. Riley Gaines. People like Riley Gaines. People like these prominent ESPN female hosts. They are the ones that need to be talking about this because it's pretty easy to brush John and I off as, oh, look at you guys. You're just hateful, whatever, right? It's fucking easy to do, even if it's bullshit. But it's not as easy when you have women standing up for women in those said spaces. So that's what needs to be done. Sir Ruin of House Roundhead for $10. Have you heard the rumor that the Ravens might take a draft pick for might trade a draft pick for DeAndre Hopkins? Lamar Jackson reportedly said he wants DeAndre Hopkins and Odell Beckham before signing a contract extension. I have heard that rumor. I talked about that a little bit, and they basically told him, hey, I don't think we can do both of those things, but we'll see what we can do. But Lamar Jackson turned down a contract that was probably just a little bit better than the one Jalen Hurts just signed. Turned it down. Didn't want it because he wants more guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson. And I think if the Ravens do give in to him and give him what he wants that way, I think that is a massive, massive fucking mistake. Now, in terms of getting DeAndre Hopkins, hey, I mean, if they can make it happen and it makes sense for them, great. Then we'll see what Odell has left in the tank right now. But DeAndre Hopkins certainly has a lot left in the tank. And if you do that and surround him with it and get him to sign that, that's great. At this point, for me, I think Lamar is a problem. I think Lamar's a problem in terms of where his priorities are.
He needs to get an agent that's not a part of his family, not a part of his inner circle, to set him straight. I mean, he has his mom out there, I believe, trying to quote unquote represent him. No, man, you need to get a real agent. You are doing yourself a disservice by doing this. I don't know why he doesn't want an agent, because teams are actually forced now to negotiate directly with Lamar, and he's not going to get what he wants.
Yeah, I think, well, one, not having an agent or doing it yourself, I mean, can be pretty beneficial. It can be pretty beneficial because agents take a good chunk of money. I mean, 10% of your contract is going to an agent. That's a lot of money.
It is.
That's a lot of money. There's a reason that agents exist. There's a reason they do get paid that, though, because what they're offering, what they can do, knowing what's a good deal, knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to negotiate behind the scenes, that is valuable. Is it worth 10% of your contract? Is it worth $20 million? I don't know. I guess that's up to you. But
the agent
I think Lamar Jackson's made some big mistakes.
The thing is, the reason why you have an agent is because they're not emotionally invested into it. So I believe, like, players, if they're doing this, like Lamar, he's clouded by his own personal feelings.
Right.
And that's a problem. I mean, that's the reason why people go out there and get real estate agents when they buy houses, because a buyer is going to be emotional. The seller, they can sell it themselves, but they're going to be thinking, hey, my house is worth $400,000. You come at me with $300,000. You need the real estate broker to come and say, hey, based on the market, your house worth $300,000. That's what you're going to get.
Yeah. The Lamar Jackson situation continues to be very interesting. What did you think about the Jalen Hurts deal?
Jalen Hurts, one good season. How much did he get guaranteed? He got the highest guaranteed.
No, like I think 180 or something like that.
180,
somewhere around there. I think the total value of the contract is around 250 or 255.
180.
And I think around 180 or 179 is fully guaranteed, if I'm remembering right, somewhere around there. But he's going to average $51 million a year.
Ooh, that's a lot of money, man. Jalen Hurts, man. I mean, he had a really good season, but it was a season. Jalen Hurts, I got to see a little bit more from him to really kind of see if he's actually worth that kind of money, worth that contract. Is he going to live up to that contract? I don't know, but he had a really good season last year.
I mean, I've been shitting on Jalen Hurts since he got in the league. I shot at him all fucking last year, all the way till they get to the Super Bowl. I'm like, they can't sustain winning like this. It's not going to be winning for a long time with this. They made it to the fucking Super Bowl.
They did. But remember, Joe, the Ravens gave Joe Flacco all that money after he won the Super Bowl, and he didn't do shit after that.
We've seen Cam Newton make it to a Super Bowl. We've seen Matt Ryan make it to the Super Bowl. We've seen a lot of players make it to the Super Bowl before. Doesn't necessarily guarantee, success. I would have big hesitations about making Jalen Hurts, the highest paid player in NFL history, basically. But the Eagles think they have their guy. This is what I will say about Jalen Hurts. You don't have to worry about him as a person. You don't have to worry about his leadership. He's a great fucking leader. He seems like a really good guy and an incredibly hard worker. Like those are like the huge positives about Jalen Hurts. He's not going to cause you any problems. He's going to do and say all the right things for this team.
I mean, you're betting on him to replicate what he did last season, season after season after season. Ooh, I don't know, man.
But
That's
there is something to be said about a team committing to a guy and building something that fits that person's play style, right? And
right.
committing to that. And that's what
But
they're doing with Jalen Hurts.
He's more of a runner.
Yeah.
He's more of a runner.
And they're building RPOs. They're building that into their game plans.
Yeah, but that's not going to last long, man. I mean, these running quarterbacks like that, they get figured out pretty fast. No, the good thing
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. I'm just trying to present that other side, even though I'm super critical of Jalen's game.
Yeah, he had 3,700 yards last season in 15 games. 3,700 yards, not a lot of yards in today's NFL.
No,
20,
how many
TDs.
How many rushing touchdowns do you have?
He had 13 rushing touchdowns. He had 760 yards on the ground. I'm sorry. That's way too many rushing yards I like to have for a quarterback. You're going to get hurt keeping that up right there. He's going to have to develop more into a pocket passer. I'm not saying that he has to be Tom Brady, Peyton Manning in the pocket, but he ran for 784 the year before, 760. Keep that up, man. You're going to get hurt.
I'm the guy that's saying I don't like fucking Justin Fields in Chicago long term because I don't think that that's going to be sustainable.
As much as great as Patrick Mahomes is, my biggest complaint about Patrick Mahomes is he likes to run around that pocket way too long because he's so talented. And what's happened? He's gotten hurt quite a bit. And the same thing could actually happen to Jalen Hurts. Ironically, his name is actually Hurts. I'm not. hopefully he doesn't get hurt.
I hope Jalen's like. I hope it works out. Even though I have been pushing back, and I don't think that play style is going to be long term successful for people. I've become a Jalen Hurts fan in terms of just the way he carries himself and stuff. So I hope it works out for him. But there's a big if, and we shall see. Now, apparently, we got some breaking news from Kyle Denson. Dillon Brooks won't be suspended. That's big news.
Yeah, I didn't think that he would.
And I think that's the right decision. I think that's the right decision. To me, it didn't look intentional.
No, it wasn't intentional. It wasn't Draymond stepping on Sabonis.
That was crazy. Like, now, I think that Draymond reacted and then caught himself because it could have been more forceful.
Well, Draymond's history played a big part in him getting suspended.
Oh, for sure. But it was an intentional stomp. Like, he lost it in that moment. And
he should have been suspended anyway for that.
He stomped on him. But then you could see with the way I think he realized how fucking bad that was. And when he does that, like, jump off of him, you could realize he's jumping with his other foot to try to not put as much pressure on Sabonis by, like, launching off of him. So I think he realized what a bad look that was. But no, I agree with that suspension personally. I think Joel Embiid should have been punished for what he did the other night, laying on the ground.
What did he do? I didn't see that.
Let me see if I can find it. Joel Embiid kick. All right, here we go. Boom. Now, I think that this is worse than some other shit we've seen for sure.
Hard to tell there. There's the finish.
All right, Falls, Joel, we when you were gone, we went through the million times Joel Embiid falling compilation in this game. But watch what he does after his momentum kind of carries him over him.
And there's the stare down and the step over.
Oh.
That should have been, to me, that's worse
deliberate.
than what fucking Dillon Brooks did.
Yeah.
Like, that's worse than an incidental fucking swipe at a ball that ends up hitting somebody in the fucking junk. And now, is he stepping over him to fucking send a message?
Yeah, I think he is. He's instigating.
He's stepping over his legs. He's not stepping over his fucking face or his chest, right? But he is stepping over him. And for Joel Embiid to react this way.
And there's the stare down and the step over. Ooh.
Damn.
Look like
I'm kind of surprised Embiid didn't get suspended for that.
Hey, Joel Embiid's the MVP they want, right? Because you can't have a white guy win an MVP. According to fucking what's his name.
But Embiid also doesn't have the history of Draymond.
Well, Joel Embiid actually has more flagrant fouls than Draymond Green does in the same time period.
Yeah, but
he doesn't have the same reputation. I agree.
Flagrants in the NBA today are nothing more than hard fouls back in the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with that. I'm not going to disagree with that sentiment. But to me, it's pretty a lot of different punishments going on, right?
Yeah.
For him not even to get kicked out of that game for something like that, whereas Dillon Brooks gets kicked out of the game for what happened with LeBron, I think that's a little bullshit. Why is everyone going for the junk now? I don't know. They're acting like females, to be honest with you. But that's what we got in the NBA. And Game On podcast for $50 over on Rumble.
Nice.
Big one, my man. For 50. NFL draft week. I have a big show planned, and we'll be covering the first round on my channel. Come check it out. I guarantee it'll be better than ESPN's coverage. And then he links his channel, Game On Show channel, over there on Rumble. Guys, you can hit that link over there in Rumble, in the Rumble chat, and check it out. I see him all over on Rumble. Rumble loves his stuff. So that is freaking awesome. And I'll be looking forward to it. We obviously will be in Las Vegas. I'm headed to Vegas on Tuesday. I'm flying there. I'm not driving like a crazy person. I'm flying there like a normal human being. So I'll fly out Tuesday morning. I'll still be doing stuff from the road and still be trying to post update videos as much as I can. But yeah, it's going to be fun in Vegas. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. I like Vegas. It's been 8 years since I've been to Vegas.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Junior for $5 or JR, one or the other. Is ESPN the worst part of Disney? No,
that's a good question.
I think probably
they lose the most money, I believe.
I think the worst people are probably the ones who are in like children's animation programs and stuff like that, who are trying to indoctrinate your children. I think that's the worst, the most evil part of Disney.
I still would say like Lucasfilm is probably worse than ESPN. Just because I'm more passionate about George Lucas Star Wars stuff.
ESPN has such a big fall because for so many people
it used to be so great for so long.
It was a staple in so many people's lives. And now it's not a part of mine at all. You know what I mean? Like I never turn it on unless there's specifically a game to watch, right? But I don't turn it on for programming. Not watching fucking First Take. I'm not watching Sports Center. I'm not watching Inside the NBA, or not Inside the NBA. I am watching Inside the NBA because it's on TNT.
Yeah, I'm not checking out any of that, but I checked out the first episode of that National Treasure TV show.
Oh God,
on Disney Plus. Man, me and my wife turned it off about 30 minutes in. It was super woke, and it was bad. It was just flat out garbage. It got canceled after one season.
I know you guys talked about it a little bit, but I thought the conversation between Stephen A. Smith and Clay Travis was really interesting.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing yesterday.
On Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith started a podcast called No Mercy. But it's not No Mercy, it's KNOW Mercy.
Like
where he speaks about things that aren't just sports. He delves into political shit. But he had Clay Travis on there to just talk about cancel culture and different political opinions seeping their way into sports and things like that. It was a really good conversation, even if you hate Stephen A. Smith or you hate Clay Travis, one or the other. It's a good conversation. He got blasted for it because they're like, how dare you give Clay Travis a platform, blah, blah, blah. And he defended his decision to just have a conversation. And it's dog shit as some of Stephen A. Smith's takes are. I respect the fact that he talked to Clay about it.
And he even came out and said he hopes Candace Owens comes on. Candace Owens, if she comes on, I'm pretty sure the votes will probably be even more triggered by her than Clay.
Maybe Stephen A. Smith feels like the end is near at ESPN. He's getting paid a shit ton.
Oh yeah, he's
basically the face of that company at this point. But maybe he realizes the time may come where he's ready to be done with them and wants to keep doing his own shit. So.
But he's actually really one of the most moderate people over there. When you look at Stephen A.'s complete history, what he said, the things that he's said before, he's not a radical leftist like a lot of those people at ESPN.
He gets into the weeds with racial comments and stuff.
Yeah, he does. He does do that.
And I think he has some hot takes, which are, and maybe just part of that is being on air,
Just
fucking
being
several
like I said,
hours a day,
he
every
plays,
single day.
He plays
Yeah.
to his audience.
Yeah, 100%. And I think sometimes he doesn't care if he has to take to piss people off as long as people are watching.
Yeah.
Kind of the Skip Bayless, the Skip Bayless or the Colin Cowherd strategy. That's why these guys are still there for after all these years. But if anybody has some time, I think you should go check that out because I do think it was an interesting conversation. But that's it for us this week. John, what do you guys got going on in Black and White other than appealing strikes?
Well, I would like to upload another network video, but that's probably not going to happen today unless this appeal is already done. But obviously not yet. So I guess I'll stick with sports content for today. So yep,
There you go.
That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, check out Black and White Sports, Black and White Network, all that good stuff. Big shout out for the 50 over from the Game On guys. So Game On Podcast, which the channel linked in the Rumble chat is Game On Show. So that is the channel over on Rumble. Go check that out for the NFL draft coverage. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I will be back because I'll be flying back. I'll be back for Sunday, back to do this stream. So no worries about that. And we will talk to you later. Peace.